Taking a close look at the circuitry of the relay system on an 83 stringer. It's an OMC out drive. This is the tilt circuitry, and fairly simple. This is disconnected from, it sits and is connected to the last two bolts on the intake manifold. And if you'll Google, if you're looking for a good schematic, I'm just going to give a couple of shout outs here to the circuitry rather than just a quick follow through in this video tutorial. If you'll Google the three terms OMC, Belleville, B-E-L-L-E-V-I-L-L-E, Belleville Spring, and tilt, Belleville Spring, OMC, and tilt, you'll find online a quick PDF. I guess it's 9 pages long. Some great folks. One of the best little reads I've ever come across. Did a really good schematic and a discussion of the tilt system. If you're really wanting to take a look at something that's free and online, give a good shout out to the guys that did that. And it's also posted, or a discussion of it's talked about on the iBoats forum, where I frequent. And this tutorial actually is the second in a series of about the tilt housing, because we've got a tilt housing seal problem. And there was some clutch pack discussions. I use genuine replacement aftermarket GLM parts. I've used them for quite some time. I'm really happy with them. Get them from the good folks at Aftermarket Marine in Kenner, Louisiana. Shout out to those guys. Full disclosure, I own no piece of the business on any of those anywhere around. Alright, let's get into the working detail of what's going on here. You've got an up and a down switch up there on in the helm that basically says raise or lower. It's fed via the ignition system. Most of the time the ignition needs to be on. I've wired mine as the first in a daisy chain of actual hot things, so it may be hot 24/7, but I think by the book it comes with your key needs to be on. When you press the up or the down, it actually comes out in this wire right here, and that fires in this particular relay, sends electricity to this coil. The coil fires, and the food, the 12 volts that stays all the time, is right there. And then the top, which is this actually is a blue wire. These things are kind of old. The top is like that. So when a small amount of amperage is reached right here, the coil fires. It's just a typical relay. We're sending big energy from this to this, which runs your motor. And this sits somewhere in the neighborhood of that. So if we were playing it on out, we would have that there, this here, and then the juice is daisy chained from this copper. One of these is the up, one of them's the down. I believe this is the up, this is the down. I'd have to check the schematics back and forth, but they both work the same way. They're clones of each other. Inside here is a very large, I think it's a 50. It's a fuse. If you ever totally stop, pop that thing open. If you don't believe me, take a look. I carry 3 or 4 of these as spare with me all the time. One of those things go when you're out in the Gulf of Mexico, you're in trouble, or any big water, or even little water. Nobody even wants to be stuck on a pond. As you can see, this one burned. It's no longer functional. Went to O'Reilly's, got one of these. I think it was only a couple of bucks. Exact clone. It's going to go in there. And you can see where I've got some work to do. Looks like we've got a small burn there. And we've got some corrosion and some rust that needs to be attributed. Stealing from the guys that wrote the great PDF, the little 9-page PDF that I was discussing about earlier. These bolts, this circuitry, it's the canary in the coal mine. That's the best description that I've ever heard. If these bolts start showing signs of corrosion, not firing well, it's time to take a good look at your entire system up here. And since we're out of the water, this is a good time. We're going to be cleaning all of this up. This blue and this green go down back to our intermediate housing. In our other video, we discussed how the motor set right there. But it's pretty straightforward. You'll get a signal from upstairs. One of these two wires fires one of these two relays, and that feeds one of these two wires. Clean them up. Make sure your relay fires. Make sure you're getting good juice. That'll get it down to your motor. If it gets down to your motor, that's half the battle. Talk to you next time.